Who is 0826? Is that you, Alfred?
Yes.
Okay. So from the committee, we have myself and Joe Aberdale and Alfred. And of course, then we have Janet and Mike Travato and Courtney. So we have 3 out of 6 from the committee itself, or from the task force itself.
Or 4. Aren't you, Joe, Alfred, and is Will part of the task force? He's a voting member, isn't he? Or maybe
No.
You're not. Okay, because you're staff.
No.
Oh, is Will on? I didn't see him.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. So 2 things. It'd be good to get started, but if we vote on something, is 3 out of 6 sufficient?
No.
Well, I would say I read the contract. I'm sure everybody else did too. And either way, whether we have a majority or not, I was going to suggest that we send it to our town administrator, Maria Broadbent, and she would then send it Copeland and Page, our lawyers. So I think that would be the right proper process. Wouldn't it be Will or Joe or Alfred?
Yeah.
Yes, it would have to be reviewed by town council and then signed off on by the town administrator.
Yeah.
Right. I thought we were doing that concurrent. I thought Mike Travato was sharing it with town council for their comments on obviously on the legalese.
Yeah, my intent, Chris, was to get your approval of the scope of services and then send the whole packet to KP. As soon as.
Okay, well, let's do this then. Let's go through, and whatever comments or observations anyone has, then everyone has the benefit of that, including, then you can send it to outside counsel.
Okay.
I would propose we just literally go through it not section by section, not to be confused with word by word. So if anyone, I'll call out the section. If anyone has any comments, we'll discuss them. If not, we'll move on to the next one.
Okay.
Let me just.
Before we get going,
Yeah.
if we don't have a quorum, we can't vote on this.
Right.
Berkeley's here now. I just
Is
admitted
he?
him. Yeah, I just admitted him. He'll be here. There he goes.
And Alfred, I was saying that if we didn't have a quorum, we don't have to vote on it. We would just naturally have Mike agree to send it on to town council to look at it.
Kevin is now on. We have a quorum.
All right.
Excellent. I think it has more basis though, Janet, if we vote on it. That was all.
True.
Yeah. So Kevin, you're a hero. Thank you. Let's look at the first comment I had was in section 7 of the proposal. If anyone has comments prior to 7, please share. Okay. So my only comment was 7B. Yes, we, the town, would like to get a certificate of insurance. And Mike, maybe questions for town council. Would we normally expect that certificate to name us as additional insured, include a waiver of subrogation, and state that policy is primary?
Yeah, Chris, I certainly, we always get the standard COIs on this. I don't want you to get caught up in the minutia of the legal part of this, just because I really feel that, we've been working with GEI on other contracts here, and this is sort of standard contracts. But if there's something that's really just standing out on that section, on the front part of this, then please, call it out for us. We'll make sure that, again, as I said the other day, that the T's are crossed and the I's are dotted on the legalese of the contract itself. This is a consultant contract. We do them all the time. Just want to make sure you guys try to stay as much focused, and I'm not trying to steer you away from the boilerplate of the contract, but I do want you to make sure you cover the tasks at hand. So, because that's really where I think you can be of best benefit to us. But to answer your question, yeah, we'll make sure between KP and what we typically ask for, that we get the proper certificates of insurance.
Okay.
Remember, this is for the contract. This is for the consulting contract. This
Yeah.
isn't for the dredge work. That's a whole separate contract. So I just want to be clear, so there's no confusion. This is a contract just to hire our consultant here, to help put the papers together and then oversees the project itself. So.
Right.
I believe if we look in the folder, we probably already got those from them for the other projects. So it would be an ongoing insurance thing. They had to furnish us at the other bid things they did.
Yeah.
Well, again, we're relying on KP.
Yeah, I'll leave it to you if you don't want to pose a question. All I'm saying is it's not uncommon. You get those things, but only if you ask. So I'll leave it to you, but that's my comment.
Yeah, no, appreciate that. And again, I didn't want to, not trying to steer you too far afield from here, but just didn't want to get caught up in the boilerplate.
And then in number 8B, I would ask them just to look at that last sentence about the client, meaning us, agrees to require that all contractors agree that this limitation of GEI's liability extends to include any claims or action. I just asked them to look at that last sentence.
Okay.
Number 12, it calls for non-binding mediation. I don't see it as an issue. I assume if anyone does, they'll identify.
Yeah.
13D reads controlling laws, Connecticut. We should probably change it to Massachusetts. Under the assumptions, where this design package for the piggyback will cover the L pier only. Well, you know, the North Anchorage and the L pier, the area defined in red. Do we want them to also include the north and south access channel? I agree it would be a stretch. If we get the 56 or 60,000 yards associated with the red area, that would be good. But do we want to at least have an opportunity vis-a-vis the design documents to start on the access channels?
No.
I don't think that's realistic, given the time frame, the uncertainties of the weather, especially in December. My recommendation would simply to be leave it as it is for the North Anchorage and access channel. It may also, if we went into that area, it may also require GEI to take more time to modify their proposal.
Okay. Everyone else, I'm good with that, Joe.
Sounds good.
Sound good? Okay. Also under the assumption, it says contractor, this will be in the scope that they prepare for the contract. It says contractor to remove and reinstall floats and moorings. Is that true, or will the town, aka Alfred, be doing it anyway?
The town, Alfred will be doing the moorings for the initial dredging, but the town will be doing the floats and docks.
But we don't want the contractor to do it.
They should be out by the time this even comes.
Yeah.
Through.
Okay, so all I'm saying is we'll make sure GEI doesn't specify that, because the contractor would price it then accordingly.
Chris, can you tell me where you are right now?
I'm under assumptions.
Which bullet point?
Let me see.
Oh, I get a contractor be required to remove and install.
Yeah.
float.
Yeah.
Are you looking to strike that?
Well, if the town is going, town and Alfred are doing it anyway, then we shouldn't put it in the contract for this dredging contractor, because he'll think he has to price it.
Okay. Well, have you had that conversation with GEI about this, or?
No, No, I wanted to get our.
No, I'm asking Will. Sorry, asking Will.
Oh,
If you
No,
spoke.
that was just boring if the fact that this came earlier than we pulled them out. But at the point of this specific project, like if this started October 1, then they would need to be pulled out. As in, if this wasn't just a separate piggyback. So that was why it was in there. Or if anything did happen, and there was for some reason that we didn't get it out, or maybe they wanted to get going on this project with a separate crew, that was in there. But it could easily be striked from it.
Well, would it make sense for us to leave that in there and say that they'll be required to remove them if they're not already removed?
Yeah,
Why
but it
not?
also-
Yeah, unless
Why not leave it in? Leave that avenue open in case it's needed.
yeah.
Well,
I
for
mean,
one thing, the contractor will probably add that into his cost, wouldn't he?
yeah,
we
but
would.
if there's going to be a site visit in this case, he'll probably observe that there's nothing there. So we can keep the language in. I just wasn't sure myself whether. I was pretty sure that we, meaning the town and or Alfred, would have them all removed. But
Okay.
we can we'll stay silent on it. We'll let GEI write it up as is. It can always be clarified at a inspection or visit.
it could always be put as necessary as well.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, also there, the contract docs, GEI is asking if we agree with using the EJCDC documents or if the town has their own documents.
Yeah, we're just gonna recommend to KP that we use we use their documents, their standard documents, and we'll see what KP says.
I'm sorry, use whose standard document?
The
The EJ?
EJCDC, yeah, I
Yeah,
still
okay.
got the acronym down.
Yeah,
So we'll leave that in there unless KP asks us to strike it.
okay. The tasks look pretty good to me. Under task 1, there's an item 4 about a cost estimate, but then we turn around and do it again in task 2. So it's probably not necessary to do it in task 1. Something that GEI would do. And that was all I had. Any other comments under any of the 5 tasks? Exhibit C outlines the insurance provision that they would provide. I would think for tasks 4 and 5, they may also have to provide insurance under the Jones Act, but I'm not sure on that. That would be a question for KP.
Yep.
And those are my comments. The yardage, just to refresh everyone's memory, the yardage that we're talking about in the red areas is right around 56,000 yards, which would be really good to get done this year.
Chris, has anyone done an estimate? I had asked GI this question. They didn't have the answer, and we're going to provide it, but I didn't know if you folks had done any math on this, even if it's back at a napkin. Just curious about what the anticipated cost would be for that portion of dredging.
Yeah, I would use, let me see. I mean, obviously we expect Cashman to be a strong contender because he will have already been mobilized. I would expect him to be somewhere between 1.3 and 1.6.
0.3 and 0.6, okay. Okay. Yeah, part of what we're just trying to assess there is just how much bonding we need to do for for the piggyback portion of all of this, just to make sure we're covered.
That's all I have.
I'd like to go back to the Exhibit A where I didn't read the last part of that thing. I mean, I glossed over it because I knew the floats were coming out. But it also says to reinstall. This needs to come out, in my opinion, is because we're not going to have somebody put the floats back in so the ice gets them. That would be counterproductive. So I guess my question is that line really counterproductive in the whole system? I realize for protection why it could be in there, but I would be questioning about the bid part of it. Because it says the contractor will be required to remove and reinstall. I mean, the stuff that we take out isn't going back in until April.
Yeah, good point.
I mean, Will, you don't want the float to go back in then, do you?
No.
To eliminate it.
And they're probably
Well,
going to build a cost in to provide that service, so why not knock it out?
Just eliminate it.
I mean, the only floats that could be a problem, half of them are mine, and the other couple of the towns, if we're talking about the thing. And worst case, if we had to in a day, we could push them around the back. I think that we're going to get, I don't want to say gouged, but I think that's going to be in there, and that's going to be a bonus for them when they don't have to do it.
Yeah, maybe we
Well,
should strike all the removal of docks and floats from the proposals to begin with, and then we can get the DPW helping us pull them all out in a day, and just have all the guys there doing it, and just have an order from the town to get it done.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
half of them are mine, and I get my half out in a day. I mean, and I've assisted the town, but I'm just saying, I think that we're opening up a bonus for the bidder in that. They're
Yeah.
not going to have to do.
It's your call on what you want to do here. Certainly GEI will do whatever you ask them to, as far as how they're going to structure this proposal to contractors.
We can tell them to take it out,
Okay.
meaning take the language out.
Yep, we'll strike
Yeah.
it then.
Do we need to include them? Okay, never mind. I got it. Good.
Okay, anything else? What is the next step in the process, or next steps, plural?
Oh, well, I'll certainly be forwarding this to council for their review, and upon acceptance, I mean, if we're good with the language, unless anything major comes back from them, I would hope you could give us the latitude here to just move forward with executing this contract with GEI, subject to council review, which case then we would just get select board approval and execution by the town administrator.
So the vote can be taken excluding the provision that the contractor is required to place the floats back in the water. We can vote on the document as it is with that exclusion. And then Mike would take it from there.
Okay,
I think the amendment would be that out of it, and the Connecticut and the Massachusetts change, and then leave it loose to whatever town council feels is most pertinent to the town of Wellfleet.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's typically how we handle contracts of this nature, and just so you guys know. That's why I was glad you could focus on as much of the scope of services as possible, because that's really your forte there is that aspect of this contract.
So would the motion be to approve the contract as amended and to be sent to town council?
I think we have to do it amended and send it to the Board of Selectmen or the town administrator. I don't know if we have the authority to send it past you guys.
No, that's not true. We, as town administration, take contracts of this nature and work it out until it's ready to go in front of town select board. So we
So
want to make sure.
we
We want to give select board what we feel is a final document. So it needs to go to council first. And that's our authority to do that.
so you're asking the board's authority to, or not the authority, but for us to give this a blessing so you can send it to council.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion that we send this to the town administrator with the amendments of Connecticut being stricken and Mass being inserted, and the line about the moorings and the slips being deleted.
Second that motion.
Okay. All those in favor of the motion?
Aye.
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 Three, I heard three.
4. There's 4 there.
4.
Kevin, Joe,
We
Al.
we now have a quorum.
Yeah. And anyone opposed? Okay, the motion passes.
Great.
Great, thank you.
Yep, good.
Have a good evening.
All right,
Thank
thank
you.
you,
You
everyone.
guys, isn't
Yeah.
this kind of scary? I'm so scared this won't all work out beautifully, but so far you guys are doing a great job.
As long as we keep going forward and don't let the time go by.
Yeah, yeah, the clock is our biggest challenge.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question? And this has nothing to do with what we just went over. Will, you and I talked about the entrance to the channel at the pier.
Yeah.
Out at the jetty. What'd you say, a 3-to-1 scope?
Yes,
Now that's all clear sand out there.
yes.
And that's right against that red nun. In the other side where the green can is, those are all grants.
Yes.
So is that going to be wide enough to open that up on a 3-to-1 scope?
The grant should be far enough off the channel that allows for that.
What about the other way towards Indian Neck?
Yes.
Alfred, you know what I'm talking about.
I think it's going to be fine, because if they go back to where it was originally, they're still going to be in the dredge scope where the actual layout was.
How far back from that sandbar would that be? About 30, 40 feet?
Yeah, because they can go right back to the tip of the breakwater. That's in the channel layout.
The tip of the breakwater was in the channel, correct?
Yes, within a couple feet.
But the bar is way out past that. That can is almost on the edge of the bar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
well-
it'll be digging all around that.
So the plan would be to the way it is now, it's really constricted. You have a tough time, 2 boats going out of that.
Well, the last time it was dredged, Kevin, it was quite a bit wider in there.
It was.
And they're using the same blanket for the area.
Okay.
The grant should be permitted in a way that allows for the federal channel dredging, seeing as how they're all permitted through the Army Corps. And then that breakwater is the same.
Very good.
But what we need to do, not to take time tonight, is the town of Wellfleet has got to do a beach renourishment program to get the sand away from the breakwater so it doesn't continue.
Yeah,
Hillary's been
all the groins should be done.
Hillary's been working at it, but it just gets put back on the back burner when other things come up.
But that sand could be used, that's all clear sand out there on all of them.
Yes, that can go in front of. The problem is you can't put it on private property, but you can put it back in front of somebody's house if the town owns up to the private property. Like the sand that we take from the pier goes down to the seashells.
Yeah,
It goes on the beach. It doesn't go on seashells property, and that's in the order of conditions for the dredging. The maintenance dredging at the L pier on the beach side.
yeah.
We can do the same thing at the breakwater. It's just that somebody's got to implement and take the time to do it.
And that sand could go up on Indian Neck because the town owns that.
It could go all the places that they're hauling the sand in to dump on the beach for it to come back.
Right,
That's why we take the sand from the pier and take it back to Powers Landing, so we don't have to put as much sand on the beach to end up at the pier again.
right. And most people don't realize there's a groin right out in front of Max.
Well, there's 3 groins that are completely covered.
Right.
Those should all be dug out and have a maintenance project, which could easily be done with the equipment that the town has. We just have to schedule with Hillary a maintenance every winter for those.
And that would free up the LPF from building up with that amount of sand that it usually gets.
Well, you'd just be catching it down the line.
Right.
Yeah.
And then moving it down
Further
like
down the line.
So it's seashells.
Mhm.
Yep. Just a thought.
Okay, move for adjournment?
I make
I'll
a
make the
motion.
motion.
Second it.
Who we got for the motion? Joe?
Yeah, Alfred can second.
And Alfred on the second?
Sure.
Okay. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Good
Thank
night.
you.
All right.
Thank you.
All right.